because we were not badly off when we started with my parents.
Yeah.
So we were okay. And then from such a lifestyle, and you throw this human being into a village, it's like bringing...
And you're not used to certain environment.
Exactly.
And you're young at the same time.
So I get to Shango, and the first thing, my hair was shaved, my earrings were removed, and I began life.
Who removed you? You have to adapt to the changes of the new environment.
When
And this is a village. Yeah, you have to live like them. And again, in Sia, I don't think whether by then you could find any salon.
There was no salon, and I think my auntie was like, you're used to this life, and me, I cannot manage. And she would do it, and by the time I realized I was Kiparangoto, and everything has happened, I don't have earrings, my life has started, and I'm put there with about 20 children eating ugali, and I realized by the time I took one portion of ugali to my mouth, by the time I'm returning my hands on the plate, I realize there is nothing on the plate, and everybody is like bye, and they're going. So I left there. Oh, by the time I go to get tea, people are taking it so fast, and I don't have enough. There's a lot of insufficiency, and of course I felt left out. After 3 months, I became a lion in the village, because now I have to know people,
and you're accustomed to the environment.
And I'm accustomed to the environment, and now I can defend myself and all that. And then I started learning a few words in
Now, this scramble for ugali portions on the plate, did you ever come to explain this to those 20 children you find in Siaya one time? It was a kind of a punitive action in one way, because like they are scrambling for them so that you can't get, because they call you a stranger in one way or the other. Did you ever explain the ordeal to them?
Not really. I never got the chance, because I moved from one house to the other. So I kept moving. Today I'm with auntie, tomorrow I'm with grandma, the next time I don't know I'm where, tomorrow I'm with uncle. So it was a life series for me.
And how long did it take for you to adapt with all these changes?
I would adapt, and immediately I moved to another new location. So by the time I realized it's a new environment once more again, and I need to adapt. And then I adapt, I'm settled kidogo, and then, Barbara is moved to another shosho, Barbara is moved to another uncle. So it was life like that until I reached somewhere around Form 3 in the village. And I remember that time my dad took me, and I came to Nairobi, and I'm a Form 3-year-old, and I cannot express myself in English. The girl who never knew Luo has become a Luo lady, and
what kind of education did you used to go through in CI?
It was a very
because
low
I think
education.
Once you in Form 3, I think there is a way you are able to explain yourself a bit.
No,
but it will depend on the.
I would explain myself. I would explain myself at that particular time, but I could tell you my my diction was very poor. My diction was very poor, and I had so much low self-esteem because I had stayed in the village for so long. And I come to Nairobi and I realize so much has moved on. And my siblings, oh my goodness, I relate with them. I feel like I'm a village girl in the midst of the city.
And this is where you are born. This is a city you are born.
And this is my home. So I had gone to visit my mom. I came to see my dad, and I insisted. Actually, I never insisted. I ran away and went to visit my father. So that particular time, I know not many people know this story. So when I went there, oh goodness Lord, I see my siblings. I see a lot of achievement. I've not seen television for the longest time in my life, and I'm seeing a screen in front of me. I'm a grown-up lady, and
it's like you want to touch with your fingers to see whether it's.
I was about 16, 17, thereabout. I think even 17, because I delayed kidogo.
And when you actually, there is a big valley between the time she left from class 3 to up to 17 years. That's a long time.
So there's so much. I'm a transformed village girl.
So during this this period you never saw your family?
I remember actually we are on the issue of now you finding a television, now that in the villages you don't see one.
Yes.
Now, what was your experience when you saw a television
I
set?
glued there for some hours. It's like I'd missed out on so much. I needed to revisit. I started with cartoons because that is where I'd left at. I needed to go back to cartoons and refresh my mind where I was, because that's what I used to watch back then. But after a while, I started adapting.
Now, before you adapt, I think there is a question from one Dina Mwania. True?
Yeah, Dina Mwania. Just a question to our guest. Since she was her dad's favorite, as a parent and born-again Christian, do I have to love one child more, or I should love all equally?
We love all children equally. It's just that we relate with everyone. I want us to understand, besides being a child, there is a level of relationship. And
now, relationship that is so personal with your parents and maybe with each child.
Exactly. And you see, relationship has to be cultivated. You have to be intentional to cultivate your relationship with each child. And even children, you need also to be intentional as you grow up to cultivate relationship with your parent. So what happens is that it is not a one-way traffic. You as a parent, you may love your children equally, but what happens is that your children also may have their own way of loving and having preference and having relationship. And I think when we look at the story of Jacob and Esau, and we can see that there is a level of relationship that is expected between a parent and a child. So I would say love them equally, but be intentional on relationship, because that is where most people we fail on.
What do you mean by quoting being intentional?
Being intentional, I mean, is that be there, be that parent, be that person, that it's not that the child is fetching out on you, fetch it. And also as a child, fetch out as well. It is a two-way traffic. It's not a one-way.
Now, if it happens that one scale or even a weighty part of the scale falls on one child, does it mean there is a rejection to the other children? There's a question I want to connect with Dina's question, then we move to our story.
What happens, because I'm actually brought up in a separated family, what happens is that you might find yourself fighting for the space, which is not wrong. And that is why as a born again,
how do you fight for the space?
Fight for the space is you feel left out. And what happens is that me as a child, I become intentional in building my relationship with my father and my mother all the time. Hi, mom. Hi, dad. What is happening? You relate more. You fight for that space. It's just like marriage. You know, you love your wife. But for that relationship to work, there must be an intentional motive in terms of working it out. There is no way you would say that because you love them, the relationship will work. No, there is that working together. There is that you bringing it on table and me bringing it on table. So as a parent, like Dina has asked, that as a born-again Christian, how could one be one-sided? It happens, and that one we cannot overlook. It is something that is happening because we as parents, we give back to children. Yes, we love them equally, but also let us expect our children, let's teach our children also to love us back, you know, and our children, we love them back. It's a two-way. When was the last time you as a child has gone to your mommy and tell them, I love you? Okay, I think that is picked from the audience.
So, Barbara, what's your take on raising kids while the parents are already divorced or separated?
It's like we are drifting from that topic. Actually, I had in mind that question, but actually we don't have to cut something she was continuing. The part of when she left came back to Nairobi and she found ourselves glued on a TV set.
Okay.
We left at that.
Seems like you love that story.
Yeah, actually, we want to make a sequential flow so that people don't think that just someone wakes up and find themselves having everything in life. And that's why, and there's one issue that will make sure people understand that we don't wake up like mushrooms and we die at the same time. There is a process. That's what we call the scarred footprint that you go through. And that you went through, it is more than scarred footprint. So you find yourself on the glued yourself
On the TV.
TV.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there
And
we
on
go.
on the cartoons.
Yeah, and I've come back, and
Yeah.
my dad has remarried, and there is a new stepmother, and I cannot be able to relate with them. They're not relating with me.
Yeah.
So it gave me a leeway to leave my dad
Yeah.
and come back to my mom. And I'm back to my mom's life
Yeah.
when I'm older. She doesn't know how I passed my stages
Yeah, how you grew.
and how I grew. But because I knew God at a young age,
Yeah.
I knew how to pray. God revealed himself to me. I always say, I never had the opportunity, like many maybe would be, to, yes, I did when I was young. My mom would take me to church.
Yeah.
But going to the village, I looked for God for myself.
Yeah.
I started remembering the God that I used to hear my uncle, who was a bishop, preach about when we were young back in Nairobi. I want to experience this God. I want to know him. So when I knew God in the village, by the time I was coming back, I was embracing him. And when I came back to my mom's house and I would feel like a stranger, God will assure me every now and then. I know it looks very funny to have said that I had an experience with God at a young age. But let me tell you, God visits people even at a young age. So that's why I never despise even your child when they come and tell you, Dad or Mom, I had a dream. I used to have dreams when I was young. Dreams about my family. Dreams about my life. Dreams about my parents individually. But I had no one to tell. So all I can tell even our viewers, never despise the dreams of your children.
True.
Never despise, even as young as they are, when they come to you and they tell you, Dad, I had a dream. Something was happening in our nation. She could be the prophet of that particular time. So I am here and things have happened. I am in a new life. And what made things work so quickly for me is the prayer life that I had activated when I was back in the village. So the more I would pray, I don't know how, supernaturally, my diction started changing. I don't know how. Ask me, I don't know which process or at what point things began to change. And my mom, because you know, my mom is someone who is very strict and all that. I was back on books and things just began to change for me. It was a rapid and a speedy change that came into my life. And then suddenly, oh, it was like a flip of life. Things began to happen. And the lady that we were with, one of my cousins, loved church. She would go to church, I would go with her. And my prayer life improved. And things began to happen. And because I used to sing in high school, and I had met a reverend called Watanga, and he prophesied upon my life. And he said, you, young girl, God wants to use you. God wants to use you. I remember in our high school in Hawinga, at some point, because I'd moved from different schools. Let me mention this last one. That particular time in that high school in Hawinga, what happened is that when they were having a revival meeting, there were ladies who were devil worshippers. Maybe you may not know because maybe you've never been in such schools. But there they were. And people used to get scared of them. But I don't know how. When they see me, they run. So ladies would come and make fun. Ekeni babra kitanda yake karibu na
Our I'm a devil worshipper.
because apparently they were scared. I didn't know that there was something upon my life that God had deposited. And that's how God began to use me. And at that particular revival, Reverend Watanga calls me out of the hall, and he tells me, I want you to go and lay hands. That was my first time. I don't know if I had that particular, because me, I'd given my life to Christ so many times when I was young, when I left my mom's home, every time I would hear an altar call. How many want to give their life to Jesus? I am there. God, I repent yesterday. Niliiba nyama kwa sufuria. Naomba baba nisamehe. The next time somebody comes from maybe Nairobi, they are doing a revival. How many want to receive Christ? I am here. If you've sinned, yes, I have sinned yesterday. I was disrespectful to my auntie. Lord, so I gave my life to Christ so many times until I realized it is not that way. It is not that way, yeah. God delivered me from that process. But now, in high school, he calls me and says, come lay your hands on these girls. And I was like, I've never been a pastor. You were in Form? I was in Form 3, I think. Form 2. Yeah. I've never been a pastor. Come lay hands. And at that particular time, they appointed me as an assistant CU chairperson. Yeah. And then I went. I laid hands on 2 of them and they fell. And I started shaking. I came out of the hall and I went to ask myself. You thought you've killed someone? Yes, I thought, what is wrong with my hands? What is not happening? Because I was not even pushing. The way I wanted even to experiment. I went back again. I said, this time I'm not going to lay hands. I'm going to hold hands. And I saw somebody falling. I said, what is this? What manner of darknesses can be following me? Seems like the witches from my dad's side have decided to use me. What is not happening? But suddenly I didn't know that was God's power working through me, and he was ministering through me. So I started walking a personal walk with him, and that Reverend Watanga called me and said, I see the hand of God upon your life, and you need to pray because God wants to use you. And he was a very spiritual, humble man, and he prayed for me. I've never met him, but I always carry him in my testimony. And that is why I keep saying, you may never know what you're doing. That girl, that woman, that small child, that probably you're mentoring could be the person that God wants to use in the next generation. Keep mentoring them. This man spoke to me. I never met him again. But because of him, my journey with Christ began. And it was so personal. So when I came to stay with my mom, I kept upgrading from one level to another, to another, to another, until I got married, until now I'm here. And I just lost my dad just like 2 weeks ago. Okay, sorry. But unatukimbiza kwa hiyo story. How do you see? Are you following?
Yeah, I'm following.
Yeah, because now, as far as now Salvation Life is concerned, I think we're at point, but we're picking up from there. Now, the other issue is now, this time you came back to your father's house, you find that he had remarried. How was life from that time? And again, how did you grow? What are the challenges that you found in life, apart from shifting from one village to the other, from uncle to auntie, from father to dad? Now, those are some kind of challenges that, because I know there are a lot of people, as you've mentioned, there is someone mentoring someone somewhere, and maybe they don't know what they're preparing for the next, or for tomorrow's generation, or for tomorrow's life. So what did you find? Or how did life carry you when you came back to your daddy's place and you found you can't get accustomed to the new life of you finding someone who is a stepmother in your father's house? So this, to me, the relationship between you and your father is not as it was as you are going to CIA. Actually, my relationship with him started deteriorating because he was now very far. Yeah. I had no phone. I had no means of communication. I would only see him when he shows up. Yeah. But now there's this particular time when I insisted I want to come to Nairobi. I had missed Nairobi. I had really missed Nairobi for a long time, and I was like, "Eish, I have missed the city. Yeah. Can somebody take me back to the city? Let me just have a view." And I come back and I see Blue Band. Oh goodness, Lord. Marjorie.
And I'm like,
hiyo time ilikuwa
wait.
inaitwa kadogo. I know.
Yes. And I feel there's so much I have missed. And when I entered my dad's house, I was not accustomed to so many things that was taking place. And my stepmother also, I am new to her. I am a grown-up lady.
Yeah.
I know she will not find it easy.
True.
So she would fight for her space. Because now when you're in and your daddy and there is love and you've missed each other and there comes and then there's a woman there and she feels, hey, this one is too grown. We were almost the same size body. So of course he was like, hey, huni mkubwa sana.
Were there stepsisters or stepfathers?
They were very young, like 2 years.
Yeah.
And me there, I'm 18, you know.
And your immediate siblings?
My immediate siblings, now they are also grown.
And you're in the same house?
No. My siblings are with my mom.
Okay.
The ones that I had left with my mom.
Okay.
They insisted to stay there. But now there is these other siblings for my stepmother.
So you feel the magnetism between your father and you should
Yes.
still move on. That's
Yes.
also great.
Yes, so I tried. And then at a particular time now, when I insisted I wanted to go and see my mom,
Yeah.
when I went and came back, they decided to release me.
Yeah.
I felt in my spirit that was the turnaround.
Yeah.
Because when I went to my mom, like I had said earlier, that's when I started prayer.
Yeah.
That's when things began to change. After now, my dad he actually escorted me to my mom's house. And
Did
left me
he
at the
enter?
gate. No, he left me
Why?
at the gate. I don't know. I cannot explain some things. Yeah, some things are better never explained.
It's true.
But all I know is that he left me at the gate and he said bye. But I felt like, whew,
Mzigo. Punde ilikuwa imechoka.
man, it
Yeah.
has come to pass. The day that we waited for. And I entered the new house. And then the introduction. This is your sister. It's been over 12, 13 years or 15 years and you were young and you see a new image of someone who has shaved her hair and she looks like village.
Yeah.
And you're even wondering, is this really our sister?
How are you received?
Very well. Very well, especially me and my bro, we were so relating, and my kid sister now, because I'd left her when she was very young, it was very hard. And those that distant, because there is no relationship.
True.
Remember, relationship
There's no
has,
bonding from a younger age.
Yes, relationship has three ways.
Yeah.
Communication, bonding,
Yeah.
you know, and intimacy.
True.
So you cannot tell me these three things are not working,
Yeah.
are not there, and you have a relationship. If there is no intimacy,
It's
there
no
is no
bonding.
communication and bonding,
yeah.
then there is no relationship.
True.
So most people think because they say I love you, you're in a relationship, and yet there's no intimacy,
There's no
communication, there's no bonding.
Yeah.
That one totally count it. I'm sorry if I'm breaking someone's
Invalid.
heart. Invalid.
You're out of
If I'm
place.
breaking your heart, I'm sorry, because truly is that if there is no intimacy,
Yeah.
even with God,
Yeah.
if there is no communication,
Communication,
there is no intimacy, and there is no bonding with
Yeah.
God, there is no relationship.
That's very true.
So that is what happened.
Yeah.
There was no relationship. So it's like we have to start again. We have to start to
You have
be
to
brothers
revive, you have
and
to
sisters.
rekindle, you have to do reintroductions here and there.
And you have also to try and relate in a way that they are relating, so that you become one. So-
Actually, it's a way of making you fit.
yes, because now you're wondering when they are talking about football, I have no idea. I've never watched soccer. When they're talking about a kipindi, that I'm like, I'm so new. I'm so new. What is not happening? It's like life had really chased me out.
Yeah.
And suddenly I need to come back to life. But God, in His own infinite wisdom,
Yeah.
fed me and made me and make me in a very short time. I was able to fit in. And my mom,
Yeah.
mothers should be respected. True. Because she just took me in like she bore me yesterday, and all the love and all the care and all the concern. And I was like, where I had missed out on such love.
Yeah.
I had missed out on such care. And every time I would think about her, kneel down and say, God bless my mom.
Yeah.
And I always believe my entry in that house became a blessing.
Yeah.
Because things began to shift and things began to change, and God blessed us.
Yeah.
And it was a journey after journey. And after some time, without speaking so much, allow me not to say too much, but after
It's okay.
but after some time, I was able to fit in so well.
Yeah.
And the lock and key was so perfect.
Yeah.
Until I got married. We were together.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, most people feel like this is the family than where I was.
True.
But on the contrary, I had spent many years on the other side compared to this side.
True.
So this is what intimacy, bonding, and communication
That's
can
all.
do in a relationship. When you have people who are intimately related and bonding and communicating, you don't need years for things to work out.
True.
Just have it. The more you have it in a speed of 1 year, these people can go really far. And that's the same technology I invited in my home, in my husband's life, in my relationship. I love to have intimacy, bonding, and communication.
That's very important. And I think, what are the effects of parents divorcing at any age of your life or of any children?
One, which was very clear to me, and I really had to fight it. Thank God I knew God.
Yeah.
I always say, if I never knew God, how could my life be?
Yeah.
One of the things one can suffer is low self-esteem. Being thrown left, right, and center, you don't know where you belong.
Yeah.
Most children can suffer low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And they may never talk, they may never express themselves, but it can happen. Secondly, is children lack direction. Because family gives you an identity.
True.
So what happens is that most of the time, this child is lacking that identity. And he doesn't know which direction he should follow. And he's being embraced by different cultures of people. Because, the way my mom cultures her children is not the same way your mom will culture her children. So they lack direction. They lack the visibility of that family. And one thing, it kills the dream of the family. It kills that which the family carries. So you find that the minute there is divorce, it's like it has killed a dream of an entire generation that was in that family. But it takes, let me tell you, hope is not lost when you have Jesus.
True.
When you have Jesus, hope is not lost. All I can tell is that there is a way God picks you up, makes you, and presents you. And you look so different. It is so hard for anyone to ever believe. Sometimes I meet people and they say, you looked all packed together. And I know some people say, Toto Ababi, I tested Ubabi when I was very, very young. And it is easy because God can package you, and present you. And once he does that, all the scars, all the bad things, all the narratives, it's like they're rubbed off. So nobody sees behind. And all I can say, behind every good man that you see, there is always a story. It's just that it has not come out, or maybe you've not inquired. I used to have this old man in my life who used to say, people don't tell stories, but if you want to know people, know their stories. Because he says, when you see someone succeeding, they did not just wake up on success. either someone succeeded on their behalf,
Yeah.
or they fought through
For
and
themselves.
God showed them out and present them before people.
Yeah.
And you see the success. Every success has a root.
Yeah.
You just need to find it.
Okay, we're getting back to you. We want to get some of the comments from the audience outside there.
On our comments section, that's on Facebook, there's Dan K. Kisilu. We love you, Jeff, Caro, and Barbara. There's Lish Galtoto saying, watching from Pipeline. Hi, Ken. There's Consolata Chibalonza saying, wonderful show. There's Victor Juma saying, watching from Juba, South Sudan. There's Dan K. Kisilu saying, amazing show. There's Felix Moriki saying, watching from Saika. There's Arthur Miracle saying, host Jeff, always sharp and smartly dressed. Big up Legends production. There's Bernard Otieno saying, very encouraging story. That part of sharing ugali with many siblings and not getting to eat, I can relate. There's Dina Monia. That's great story. Loving the show. Be blessed, Barbara Perez. There's Arthur Miracle watching from Makueni County. Him again saying liking the show. There's Susan Wangoi saying watching you and may God bless you. There's JB Bresh saying international parenting, clapping his hand or her hands and saying good show. Dina Mwania saying, oh, we read the question earlier. There's Angela Kitondo saying watching from Eastlands, Jericho. There's Gitonga John saying, Pastor Gitonga from GSU, wish you well in life, my sister. God is on our side. Rejoice. Ask me, I'll tell you. There's Rogers Lato saying, okay. There's Dina Mwania saying, good evening, our host and the team. Good to see you all. Welcome, Sister Perez, to EBN TV.
Thank you.
And that's great. That's a great conversation. That's why I said in the beginning of our topic tonight, the scarred footprint. This is where we talk. Because you may see, as our guest tonight has said, if you want to get someone's story, to know someone, you have to get their story. But stop the issue of assuming people and assuming issues come into fall or fit into place because they have to fit. There is a story, there is a challenge, there is a journey, there is a meander that you have to take in life. So to our guest Perez, now, because of time, I want you to finish on one point. You give us your final story. And to our audience, we want to remind you that on next Sunday, we shall be bringing in Barbara Perez. She's a minister of gospel. And that's a story she'll be giving us. She'll be singing unto us. And as we finish the short night, we shall be getting one of our beautiful songs. And so that is the stories that we shall be introducing next Sunday. So if you feel that we've not touched part of the things that you wish we had to cover today, you can keep tagging us through our social media platforms, and we shall handle that next Sunday. So Perez, we were on the issue of divorce, and I know the effects of divorce are too many. Actually, because I normally say marriage is a show of, actually it brings out tomorrow's generation, because if there's no marrying, there's no generation for tomorrow, not even next generation. So now when it comes to the issue of divorce from parents, it still kills out the dreams, the destinations of people, the destinies of people, and more so children. And we are all differently born. I am strong in my own self, another one is so weak, another one is stronger on their own side. I'm left. My parents are divorced, for example, or someone who is watching us tonight, and they are not strong. What will that person do if they found themselves in such an environment?
One, I would say, not that I have all the answers.
Yeah.
But if I was to relate with it from my end,
Yeah.
if you find yourself in a situation that you have no a place to run to,
Yeah.
you have no any other option other than being strong,
Yeah.
then be strong and encourage yourself in the Lord. Because one of the things that happens whenever you find yourself that you're in a place that things are not working to favor you, chances of you going down and under is very easy. If you have a friend, and that is why I keep saying, never walk alone. Because alone, you can die alone.
True.
But when you walk with people, you have people that you can talk to.
True.
In my phase of life, in every stage, even when I was young, I found myself, there was always someone. How? I don't know. There's always someone. Let me tell you, you're not alone. God knows how to send people to your rescue. It's just that the enemy keeps us on lock and key so that we do not look aside and look around and see the people that God has sent to us. In every phase of life, there is always that one person that God sends. It could be in a form of a relative or a friend or even a teacher. In school, like mine was a teacher. When I was in primary, also there was a teacher in school. And I keep saying, it's just that maybe most of the time, when we go through life, we want to hide. The best thing is come out. Don't scream to people, hey, I'm going through hard times. No, but come out and see who is there waiting to help you. There's always that one person to help you. Please talk. Reach out. And you might find the help you need is just next to you. Don't die alone.
Great. Tuma salamu kwa watu watatu, then your final word.
Oh, natuma salamu kwa mume wangu na watoto wangu na mama yangu aliye hai.
Wataje kwa majina.
Doreen Akinyi, my mom, my brother Kevin, my sister Jill, my darling husband Juma, and my children. I love you. The Lord bless you. Natuma salamu kama Mluya.
Ndio nusu ya kuonana. Okay, that's what we...
To all our viewers, the Lord bless you. There is hope when we have Jesus. Amen.
That's great. And now that's what we have heard for Barbara Perez tonight on the Scarred Footprint, and we have promised to bring her back. I said there is a lot of a story that is not covered because she's not told us how she started singing. Expect that this coming Sunday.
And that's all we had for you on tonight's show, Scarred Footprint, with our amazing guest, Barbara Perez. Until next time, we have many things to discuss about, and I know you have questions that maybe you feel that haven't been answered, and we'll be hosting her next Sunday, so make sure you tune in for that show. So all from me is a good night, and not forgetting to recognize the team behind the scenes that have made this show a big success, and our director Ken Olesaina and our manager Fred Njeri. Till next time, I've been your host Carolyne Muthoni. Have a good night.
And thank you for being on the Spheres of Life. This is EBN TV. This is where we call home. This is where we talk every issue of life. Make sure that you don't die alone, because we are here to talk. And don't even die alone. Don't die, because we're here to talk. And this is home. EBN is your home. The Spheres of Life makes issues easy for you, because you know it is not easy growing. It has been a great week. It has been a great show with Barbara Perez on the Scarred Footprint. We were honored to have her, a minister of the gospel, someone who you would want to listen and listen to. Until next Sunday, have a blessed week. I'm your host, Jeff Kimayo. Goodbye.